Hello, welcome to Volume 2 of Carmine from New York Tries to Teach Photography. I hope you enjoyed Volume number 1, a little introduction about me, who am I. Don't forget, comments are turned off, so if you want to contact me, have any questions, you want to send me a photograph to critique, give you some tips, my email, blackandwhitephoto@aol.com. Now, I'm not going to go over everything I said in Volume 1. Just for the new folks, my photographs are on my website. It's a free website. You can't buy anything on it. I don't sell anything on it. There's no ads. The website, very difficult to find. CarmineTaverna.com. My photographs are on there. The gear I used for most of the photographs are on there. Have any questions about those photographs or your photography in general, send me an email. Alright, let's get into it. Like I mentioned in Volume 1, my photography roots are in my 3 years of photography schooling in high school. An hour a day, 5 days a week, for 3 years. And I forgot to mention also that back in the 70s, there was a photography school called the School of Modern Photography. It was a correspondence school where you got a lesson planner in the mail. It was a big red binder, and every week they gave you an assignment. For example, go out and photograph people at work. And then you would take the photographs, you would send them the negatives and the photographs, and the next week you get back from your instructor all the notes. Do this better, you did this wrong, this was good, this was excellent, this was poor, you have to do this instead and do that instead. Anyway, I forgot to mention that. I went to the School of Modern Photography Correspondence School. Alright, I'm going to try and teach you guys the way I was taught in the 70s from my instructor, which was, remember what I said in Volume 1, Photography 101. For you guys out there that know photography, been doing it for a long time, you still might pick up something that you didn't know from this guy. Alright, for example, the first photograph ever was taken in black and white, of course, in 1826. His name was Joseph Nepis. The name of the photograph is View from a Window. Now, I'm not going to hold it up. I'm not going to insert it. You guys know how to Google. Nepis, and the name of the photograph, the title, is View from a Window. It's incredible that it still exists, that it was cherished when he took it. He knew this was something special, that he froze a moment in time for the world to see, and that was in 1826. That's pretty well known, but what's not well known is the first color photograph. That was in 1861. That was James Maxwell. What was it a photograph of? When I found this out, I was amazed. It was a ribbon, a Scottish ribbon. It's known as a tartan ribbon. You've seen these tartan ribbons, mostly around the holidays. It's like, I call it plaid, red and green. It's a plaid design ribbon where they make a bow, and it's beautiful. Anyway, that was the first color photograph, 1861. Alright, now moving on to 1839, we have the first camera that was produced for the mass market. Now, what does that mean? That doesn't mean mom and pop will buy it to take pictures of their kids. No, the mass market was this emerging profession of professional photographers. It was the daguerreotype, which was photographs taken on glass plates. You can find them for sale today on eBay because a million photographs were taken on daguerreotypes. Some of them, the good ones, are about 3 inches by 3 inches, glass plate, set inside like a jewelry case, felt padded, close it, and people would carry that with them, cherish it. It might be a picture of their spouse, their friend, their partner, their kids. Look into it, daguerreotype. All right. Now that was in 1839. Who was behind it? This gentleman known as Alphonse Giraud. He knew that photography is something that may replace the portrait painter. And in fact, if you if you Google how did photographers replace portrait painters, you'll see very good articles where it changed the whole history of painting by those painters no longer were called to do portraits, to paint a portrait. So they shifted into more landscape, and it's very interesting how photography changed the course of professional artists using paint and paintbrush, how it changed their whole career. Okay, let's continue now with who has inspired me. Who inspired Carmine? What photographers out there have inspired me? Well, it's pretty simple. First, an amateur who passed away in 2009. It was a woman, and you probably already have guessed who I'm going to say. She did not become famous. She did not become known as a professional street photographer until she passed away. Vivian Maier. Vivian Maier was a woman who walked around her town, her city, taking the most incredible street photographs you'll ever see. When she passed away in her apartment alone in 2009, she had how many? 150,000 photographs, either developed and printed, just developed but not printed, rolls of film exposed but not developed, in a storage locker that was purchased. The people that bought this locker with 150,000, either it was a roll of film or a box of negatives or a box of photographs, they didn't know what they had. Anyway, let's fast forward. Today, Vivian Maier is one of the most coveted photographers in the genre of street photography. She has inspired me. Just Google Vivian Maier. And if you guys like street photography, and that's a big part, I would say, knowing other photographers and watching other YouTube videos, I would say that street photography is about 60% of what photographers today, whether they're my age or preteen, this is what interests them, and it certainly interests me. I love street photography. I'm in Manhattan all the time taking street photographs, whether it's from shooting out my car window or walking up and down Fifth Avenue. All right. The second photographer that's inspired me, not that well known, but his photographs are, and that's Stanley Foreman. Stanley Foreman. He was a photojournalist for a newspaper. Now, I want you to Google him and look at his photograph. He has a world famous tragic photograph. See if you guys can remember it. It was a photograph of a apartment building. It was on fire. and a woman and a young child were on a fire escape, and the fire escape collapses. Now, this is about photography. This isn't a social YouTube channel. He was at the right place at the right time. He had the right equipment, but he knew how to preset his camera, his lens, to capture that photograph. All right, let's move on. Last but not least, the most famous photographer, Ansel Adams. Now, how has he inspired me? When you go on Google Images and you put in Ansel Adams, you could go through his photographs, and the same thing is in all of his landscape photos. Light and composition. Remember that. He chased good light. Light and composition. All right? Better you look at his photographs and get inspired than me just keep talking. All right. Today we're going to learn about the rule of thirds. Okay? Very simple. You have your frame, and you have a line 1/3 down, a line 1/3 up, a line 1/3 in from the side, and another line 1/3 in from the other side. It's the rule of thirds. I use it every day in every photograph, including landscape, portraits, everything. Where those lines intersect, whether it's the top intersection, remember there's 4 intersections, the top intersection, the bottom intersection, or the same thing on the other side, that's where your main subject has to go. And it's a rule, it's a very important rule. You'll hear other photographers say, yes, it can be broken, and yes, it can be broken. Sometimes it's impossible not to break it. But the line on the top, why is that there? That's where your horizon should be. If you're taking a photograph at the beach, never put where the horizon and the sky meet right in the middle. It looks terrible. Either put it at the top line or at the bottom line. If I'm photographing the clouds, black and white film with a red filter, I'll always put the horizon at the lower line to get more of the clouds. All right, rule of thirds. We're going to get into that a little deeper, but more importantly, go to my website, CarmineTaverna.com, and keep that in your mind, rule of thirds, and you'll see, oh, I see what he means. The subject is positioned where the imaginary lines meet. Okay? 1/3 in, 1/3 in, 1/3 up, 1/3 down. Those 4 intersecting points. It's very important. Another thing I just thought of, there's an old saying, and it's very true. It's kind of harsh, but it's true. And it goes something like this. Your photograph might suck because you didn't get close enough. Now, yes, it's true, you should have, if you're taking a photograph, especially a street photograph, you should have some background or some foreground that's part of the story. But if your subject is across the street and you've used a 28mm or a 35mm or a 50mm lens, your subject may not even be noticed in the finished photograph. You can use telephoto lenses in your street photography. I generally use a 200mm lens when I go shooting street photography. It puts distance between you and the subject. They're not even going to know you're taking their photograph, but it gives you beautiful depth of field. It separates the subject from the background, but it fills the frame. Remember that saying, your photo might suck because you didn't get close enough. All right, let's move on. You have to remember that the camera is just a tool. What do I mean by that? You probably know where I'm going. You don't need a $3,600 Leica to take a photograph that a $100 Pentax Spotmatic with a 50mm 1.4 film camera will do. Here's why. This Honeywell Spotmatic, okay? Oh no, it's not a Honeywell. There's two versions. Honeywell was for an importer because back in the day, Japan had to find an American importer, and they had to put Honeywell on it. But this one's a real one from Japan. This one is an Aside Pentax. Now, this camera, all right, there's no fancy bells and whistles. There's no screen on the back, like a digital camera. All right, it's just a box. That's what a film camera and a digital camera. There's a lot of crossovers. All right, but we're going to start with film, and eventually we'll end up in digital. But you have to learn the basics. Why? Because this camera became the medium format Fujifilm 50 megapixel camera today. This was the beginning. So you have to know where you came from to find out where you're going. Alright? So, this is important. In film photography, this is just a box. This is just a box to hold the film. Alright? That's all it's for. That's all it's made for. It's a box. This is a box. Holds the film. And it has to have a shutter speed. Alright? Now, Honeywell Spotmatics is the camera that we had in high school. Our photography class, our teacher, was able to secure, budgetary stuff. He was able to secure, 9 of them. 9 Honeywell. This is not one from the high school. Don't get smart. This is an Aside Pentax. Aside Pentax Spotmatics. Alright? They're all steel. Alright? The lenses, right? These are Super Takamine lenses. Still today, amongst the best lenses you can buy. Super Takamine lenses. This is a 50 1.4. The photographs you get with this are incredible. Now, simple, all steel camera. This is not going to make you a good photographer. This is not going to make you a poor photographer. This isn't going to make you anything. All this is going to do is it's going to hold the film. You attach a lens to it, and it's going to let you be in charge. It's like a Cessna, right? It's got no bells and whistles, a little plane, right? It's up to the pilot. You hold this like you're in a pilot, all right? You go up, you go down, right, left, right. So you're in control. You're in control. There's no button on here for program, fully automatic. No. With a camera like this, all right, yeah, it has a flat cell battery and there's a built-in light meter. But at this age, I don't even bother because it's not going to work that well. It's older than me. So you don't want to trust this meter to take good photographs with you. So say you're in a pickle, all right? Say you were depending on that light meter. Now the battery's dead. Or the wire that goes from the light meter detached from the small circuit board that's in here. All right? You got to learn the Sunny 16 rule. Now, Sunny 16 is what photographers used before there was light meters. And it still works today, mostly. Most of the time. All right? Here's what it means. Say you have a camera like this, or any 35mm film camera. Yeah, it works with digital too, but we're going to climb the ladder one rung at a time. We're still on film photography. So, Sunny 16 is, you buy a roll of film, and it's the most common today, 400 speed film. Okay. Set your shutter speed the closest you can to 400, which most cameras, it's going to be 500th of a second. And that's the last time you touch that. Now, this is for outdoor photography. We'll get to indoor photography with this rule, but baby steps. When you climb a ladder, you don't skip a rung of the ladder. You got to hit every one. Alright, Sunny 16, your shutter speed matches your film speed, your ISO. We called it ASA in my day. Alright, so that's done. 400 speed film, closest you can get on your shutter speed is 500th of a second. Done. Now your shutter speed is set for the whole day. Now, F16, the smallest opening, that's on a bright, sunny day. You're taking a picture, and the subject is lit with brilliant sunlight. F16. You take the picture, there'll be enough image on the film to make a beautiful picture. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. Clouds start coming in. Your subject is bright, but not, the shadow isn't as deep as it was earlier. You might have to open one stop. Now you're F11. It gets really cloudy. Now there's no discernible shadow on the ground. It's a nice day, it's bright, but your subject doesn't have a dark shadow. You might have to open it to F8. Now it's really dark, it's getting towards evening. You might have to open it to F5.6. Okay? You never touch the shutter speed because that corresponds to your ASA or ISO film speed. Alright? So that's a good rule of thumb when you didn't buy an external light meter. When you have these cameras, I have in my hand, this is about $100. Camera and the lens. It's about $100. I recommend these, right? A Side or a Honeywell Pentax Spotmatic. This one is the SP. There's a lot of models. Doesn't matter. Maximum shutter speed on this one is 1,000th of a second. It's pretty good, 1,000th of a second. Alright, now, if you're going to buy a camera, an oldie like this, and they're $100, also buy a handheld light meter. As much as your budget, as much cash, as much credit on your credit card that you want to buy. Now, Sekonic, Sekonic, they don't give me nothing. Sekonic makes the best light meters. It's a fact. Now, they have some older ones, right, where it's a needle, okay, pointed at your subject. It measures the light reflecting off of it. Very simple. They work perfectly. You can buy one. They look old, but they work perfectly. They're about $25-30. You can go all the way up to a $350 Sekonic digital spot meter. They work fantastically, but why would you do that? You paid $100 for your camera. Baby steps. Remember one thing, whatever you buy in photography, any gear, you're really just holding on to it. You're just using it. That's what eBay's for. As you progress and you want to get something better and bigger, you sell it and you buy something else. Now, that brings us to, where do I buy my gear? Now, my film cameras, I get on eBay. But you got to be smart. I'm going to give you a few tips if you're going to buy anything on eBay in photography, whether it's a lens or whether it's a camera or a light meter. Now, you stay away from these words that sellers use. as is, not tested, parts only, not working. It worked years ago when I put it away. Unknown if working. I know nothing about cameras. Or if you see the word in the title, read. Alright? Read. These are signals that that camera or lens is a piece of garbage. Stay away from it. Do you understand? Don't buy it. The price is going to be, whoa, so low. You're buying garbage. Now, let's go over those again. Stay away from, whether it's in the title or in the description, the following. As is, not tested, not working, parts only. As found, it worked years ago when I put it away. Unknown if working, not tested, not film tested, with the word read in the title. Now, more importantly above all else, sellers have a feedback score. I don't call it the feedback score. You know what it is? It's their credibility score. Are they credible? Never buy a piece of camera gear, camera, lens, a filter, a lens hood, a Sekonic light meter from anyone on eBay that has less than a 99.2 credibility feedback score. The people you want to buy from on eBay are sellers that have 100% feedback. Why, you might ask? Because 100% positive feedback, their credibility, is cherished by the eBay seller. They want to hold on to that 100% for dear life. Many sellers out there, that's how they pay their mortgage. That's how they pay their monthly car payment. They won't sell junk. Their descriptions are accurate. They won't lie to you. If they're selling this camera, a Sai, Pentax, Spotmatic, Model SP, believe me, they're going to point out every bad thing as well as every good thing. Alright? Small dent, something's loose, but they'll tell you, works well, film tested, I guarantee it. Now, one last thing. How long are we going? We're going 28 minutes, alright. Let me explain something to you. If you see a camera or lens or light meter that you like, and they have 100% to 99.2, never buy anything from anybody that has lower than 99%. It's their credibility. Your target, your aim, your focus is to buy something from someone that has 100% feedback, credibility. Now, if you see something you like, and it's from Japan, and they have very good feedback, credibility, right? Over 99, hopefully 100% feedback. And not 2 or 3. We're talking about, look for somebody that has hundreds of positive scores, because I'm going to tell you something about eBay feedback. Only 1 out of every 4 or 5 buyers bother to leave feedback. So if you see a seller that has positive feedback, 99.8%, and they have 1,800 feedbacks, that doesn't mean that's all they sold, 1,800 to 1,800 customers. You got to times it by 4 or 5. That guy sold 6,000 to 6,000 people. But like I said, only 1 out of every 4 or 5 people that buy things, the buyers, bother to leave feedback for the seller. All right. Buy from Japan. You will be amazed at how well they package and ship it. Packages of camera equipment from Japan normally get delivered to your house here in the United States faster than if you buy something from a guy in another state, because they know the customer comes first. Japan gets a thumbs up if they have a good credibility score. There are sellers from Japan who have camera stores in Japan, all right, that have their feedback ratings 97%. They have the best prices. Stay away from them. Their cameras will arrive and they will not be as described because they don't mention that there's a problem with the camera. They will only tell you the good parts of the camera. And don't be swayed by, there's a new thing now on all Japanese listings. They start with EXC, excellent, plus, 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 4, plus, 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 5, plus, plus. No. When you see something you like on the first page of eBay, it has a good price, the next thing you look at when you click on it is the credibility score. Don't bother reading the description first. If they have 99.2 or better, hopefully 100, then continue to read the description. Okay? One other thing about buying from anybody on eBay, right now you know the basics. You know what to look for, what to stay away from. You know how they have buy it now? Everybody knows buy it now. And sometimes you'll see on the listing, make an offer. That's good. Make an offer. Most of the time, they'll accept your offer. Don't be an idiot. Don't give them half of what they're asking for. Go down a few bucks. A rule of thumb that I use, if they're charging shipping, take that off the price. If they're selling a camera and a lens combo for $100 plus $14 shipping, make them an offer of, what is that, $86. Most of the time they'll take it. Most of the time, not all the time. Now, you go on eBay, you find a camera you like, you find a good price, you know that their credibility score is very good. Press contact seller. Make them an offer. If they're selling this camera for $100 and $14, let's say, shipping, click contact seller. Be very polite. Say, I would like to make you an offer of $86. Thank you. And you know what? You'll get an email from them most of the time that says, okay. And in the email, it'll say, I make you an offer of $86. So just because it doesn't have a best offer, you can make your own by contacting them directly. It's all legitimate. eBay, it's a part of eBay sales plan. All right. One last thing. We've gone 33 minutes already. This was supposed to be 15 minutes. Buying cameras such as the Kievs, all right, medium format cameras, all right, they're great. Buy them from the Ukraine. Now, hold on. The Ukraine. I didn't say Russia. I didn't say Russian Federation. I didn't say any other country. Ukraine. The Ukraine, their sellers are legitimate. You got to check them. What's their credibility rating? If you find a Kiev, let's just say for argument's sake, a good camera, it looks excellent. That's where they were made. They were made in the Ukraine. Kiev, K-I-E-V. They have good feedback, and it's a camera and a lens. One other hint. If you see a camera with a lens and the case, remember the old-fashioned leather cases? Or the original bag, leather bag that it came in? That's a thumbs up. Because the person that owned that isn't going to keep the camera separate and the case separate. They're going to keep the camera in the case. What does that do? It keeps it protected. While it was on their bedroom closet shelf for 30 years, that it didn't get attacked by cigarette smoke, dust, all the other garbage that's in the air pollution. It stayed protected. Usually once you get it, the leather case has to be thrown away because it's rotted. But it protected the camera. Alright, so the Ukraine. Check their credibility. Make sure that they have more than 2 or 3 feedbacks, right? You're looking for hundreds, at least. Thousands are better. The Ukraine. I've never had a problem buying a Kiev Ukrainian camera from the Ukraine. These sellers are fantastic. Takes a little bit longer, right? If you need it tomorrow, forget it. Just relax. No matter what it says, you'll get it in 5 days. No. Ukraine you'll get it in about 2 weeks. Just relax. Just forget about it. Buy it and forget about it. You'll get it in 2 weeks. So, to recap, Japan, recommended. Why? In Japan, these are coveted. Cameras in Japan, the people that buy them take care of them. Alright? It's, I'm not getting into anything weird, but it's a cultural thing. They make them with pride. They own them with pride. Alright? So that's it for today. This is Carmine from New York. I'm trying to teach photography. I've been doing it since, since 1972. Have a great day. Have a great night. Have a great morning. Or in the middle of the night if you can't sleep. Take it easy.